Hey everybody! This video is going to explain what you need to do this week for the week 3 discussion. So we have another poem to look at. It is called My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. I'm going to read it at the end of this, but it is also posted under the questions for you to read yourself. It's very similar to what we've already done in the week 2 discussion. You'll read the poem. That's task 1. So read the poem. Do not do any research, as tempting as it might be. Just do your best. There will be a follow-up video next week where I go through the poem and explain things in more detail, so you'll get to, see the things that maybe you were a little confused about, and everything will be explained. But for the discussion, I want you to just give it your best shot. Don't do any research, and just answer the questions to the best of your ability. And it's okay if you're off base. So those questions are in task 2. Question 1, again, just like last week, what do you think is going on in this poem? I'm not asking what you think it's about necessarily, or, I'm not asking you to get into like the theme or the interpretation. I'm literally asking what is happening, the events, the action. For this poem, much of it is about something that has taken place in the past. So what happened in the past? What is being talked about that happened? And see if you can figure out literally what the poem is talking about. And question 2 is then, what parts of the poem, what lines, what words or phrases make you think that that's what's going on? So question 1, what do you think is going on? Question 2, point out some things in the poem that made you give your answer in number 1. Back it up with specific things from the poem itself. If you are only able to figure out what's happening in certain sections, that's okay. Talk about those. If there are other sections that you're not quite sure of, still a little confusing, say that as well. It's okay. And it's okay if what you think is going on is not really accurate. If you're off base, it's okay. Give it your best shot. Don't do any research. So read the poem, answer the questions. I'm going to read it for you right now, because that will help a little bit, I think. So one thing you need to know about this poem is it's something that we call a dramatic monologue. So a monologue is it's typically used in drama, and it's when a character on stage gives a long speech in front of the other characters, right? So we're in a poem right now, but it's still a dramatic monologue because the speaker of the poem is the Duke. We're talking about My Last Duchess, so he's the Duke. And there is another person present, and the Duke, this whole poem is a speech, what the Duke is saying to this other person, right? Then we have, after, it says My Last Duchess by Robert Browning, and then we have this word Ferrara, and that's where we're at in Italy, Ferrara, Italy. So the person speaking is the Duke of Ferrara. Okay? So here's the poem. That's my last Duchess painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder, now. Frau Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Will it please you sit and look at her? I said Frau Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance. But to myself they turned, since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you but I, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there. So, not the first are you to turn and ask thus. Sir, 'twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess's cheek. Perhaps Frau Pandolf chanced to say, her mantle laps over my lady's wrist too much. Or, Paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half-flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked whatever she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. Sir, 'twas all one, my favor at her breast, the drooping of the daylight in the west, the bough of cherry some officious fool broke in the orchard for her, the mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush at least. She thanked men, good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900-years-old name with anybody's gift. Who'd stoop to blame this sort of trifling, even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such an one, and say, just this or that in you disgusts me, here you miss, or there exceed the mark. And if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wets to yours, forsooth, and made excuse, even then would be some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. Oh, sir, she smiled no doubt whenever I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew, I gave commands, then all smiles stopped together. There she stands, as if alive. Will it please you rise? We'll meet the company below then. I repeat, the Count your master's known munificence is ample warrant that no just pretense of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though, taming a seahorse, thought a rarity, which Klaus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. Okay. See what you can figure out, what he has told us about the Duchess, their relationship, anything that you can pick up on about her or him, anything at all as to what is happening in the poem. And then what makes you think that? What lines or words make you think that that's what's going on? Give it your best shot. Try to have your first post, the answer to the questions posted by Thursday night, 11:59, and then respond to 2 classmates before the discussion closes Sunday night at 11:59. If you have any questions, reach out to me. If you have any technical difficulties, definitely reach out to me. Otherwise, just do your best, and I look forward to reading your responses.